I don't think there's been anything more exciting to happen in Riverside since the reopening of the Mission Inn over 20 years ago. The new building here, the Riverside Convention Center, its reconstruction was long overdue. What we found over the course of years, it became more and more challenging to book significant conventions in the city of Riverside because the old convention center was just that old. With this new convention center, which is state-of-the-art and beautiful throughout, and which has about 1/3 more meeting space than the previous convention center, we now have the ability to book both increased number of conventions and higher end conventions. And what that means is that we'll be bringing in thousands of people who will be willing and able to spend more money in downtown Riverside, whether it's at the hotels or the restaurants or the Fox Theater or the Municipal Auditorium. So what we're doing is we're really changing the game in Riverside in our ability to bring in higher end, high quality groups who are really going to measurably impact the economy of Riverside. We have a number of very high quality partnerships and relationships, both visible and invisible. Probably the most invisible partnerships we have is with all of the merchants in downtown Riverside. Raincross Hospitality Corporation and the Convention Center pride ourselves on being the most hospitable venue in Southern California, and part of that is outside of the bricks and the mortar and the beauty of the convention center. It's partnering with the community, it's partnering with the restaurants downtown Riverside, it's partnering with the Fox, with the Municipal Auditorium, it's partnering with the museums in downtown Riverside, and it's a combination of all of those entities working closely with the Riverside Convention Center that really gives the people who come to Riverside to convene a sense of place and a sense of being a part of a family, which is something you simply can't find in other cities or at other convention centers. So those are some of the invisible partnerships we have. We also have more visible partnerships that we'll be talking about in the future. One of them is with Loma Linda Health, and we have a very strong, very new partnership that's just begun with that organization, one of the preeminent organizations in its field internationally, and we're working on new healthy menus that we'll be able to offer to our guests when they come to the convention center. So that's a wonderful affiliation between the Riverside Convention Center and a top drawer organization nationally. We're also working with Burtech Waste Industries, and so our food waste from the kitchen is actually going to go out and be part of a compost that will be returned to the convention center into our gardens. So we have these wonderful relationships, but we're only starting to begin establishing these relationships. We have the type of team here that is so positively aggressive in seeking out new and different ways of doing things and better ways of doing things. And that's why I think we're going to shine in the industry in the next decade. The economic impact is going to be in the millions, and it's a result of the number and types of groups that we're bringing into Riverside, and so we're going to see that increase over time. One of the important measures in economic impact is the number of hotel room nights that are booked in downtown Riverside as a result of the convention center. We're already seeing bookings that, while the bookings for the opening year are approximately 1/3 of the number of bookings in the year prior to the closure, 1/3, the room nights associated with those bookings are nearly the same number as the convention groups that came in prior to. So you're talking about 1/3 the number of groups at this point with a 2-year ramp up to try to get to the same numbers, and already before we open we've got 1/3 the number of groups and almost the same number of hotel room nights. That is a really positive sign for the city of Riverside. The building itself is going to be a great legacy because it's going to stand here proudly for the next several decades, welcoming people to our city. And that's really what's important to Raincross Hospitality Corporation, is welcoming people to our city, giving people from outside Riverside a new and different perspective and feel for what our city is, because I think we're unique in Southern California. And there's a misperception out there about what is Riverside. This will cause us to bring in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to give them a new view of Riverside. And what they're going to see is close to a culmination of over 20 years of work, which began with the reopening of the Mission Inn, and then we had a total rehabilitation and rebuilding of the courts, both federal and state and local, in downtown Riverside. Then we had a complete rehabilitation of the downtown Main Street pedestrian mall, followed by the rehabilitation of the Fox Theater, now being operated by Live Nation, which pleases us to no end, and the Municipal Auditorium. So this is yet another piece of the important puzzle downtown town that is reshaping the city of Riverside, reshaping its economy, and reshaping the perception that people have of Riverside. That's a legacy.